Keep up with all the election commotion at IBTimes.co.uk.
The fifth largest metropolis in the UK, Glasgow is home to 600,000 people, 3/4 of whom are native Scots. Last September, a majority of Glaswegians voted to leave the UK, and now that nationalism has whipped up the general election campaign. In Glasgow South, a seat that was established in 2005, Labour has dominated the last two elections with commanding majorities. But firstly under Alex Salmond and now Nicola Sturgeon, the SNP has surged in popularity and is predicted to win the seat. They are now tipped to win up to 50 seats north of the border, with implications running from Downing Street to nuclear submarines on the Clyde. So why have voters deserted Labour and scrambled towards the SNP?
One, it's the SNP's record in government. We have a strong record of 8 years of delivery here in Scotland. People like what it is we stand for. People like what it is we've delivered for them. We have great support from people for our political leaders as well. Nicola Sturgeon has obviously been hugely impressive, as was Alex Salmond before her. People also used to look to Labour to stand up for them, to offer a progressive vision for Scotland, and people feel that the vision they offer isn't progressive enough. By contrast, what we offer is radical. Our manifesto launched yesterday is the most ambitious general election manifesto we've ever launched. And people like that, and that's why people are coming to the SNP in huge numbers.
3 generations of Kate's family have always backed Labour, but not anymore.
I speak to an awful lot of people and I'm looking at them and I know, and they're telling me they don't want to wait a generation for another referendum, the way things are.
So voting SNP is going to...
Well, I think it's going to get us another referendum. If not, it's going to get us a voice in Westminster.
All these folk that have voted for the referendum with a yes vote didn't get what they wanted, so that's why they're trying again. All the windows around here were covered with yes signs, but they didn't get what they wanted.
Tom Harris would usually stroll to victory in Glasgow South on May the 7th, but even he is struggling to explain the march of the SNP.
I don't think there is any logical reason why there should be such a swing to the SNP. Basically, if we go into the election and I lose, it's probably because I don't understand my electorate anymore, but if I hold on, that it's because I do understand them and that their priorities are actually still the economy and taxation and the health service and welfare. The polls are saying that the electorate here are obsessed with Trident and constitutional reform. That's not, I mean, I know that this is a cop-out, but that is not what we're finding on the streets here or on the doorstep. People are still concerned about who's going to form the next government.
But we were unable to find a single voter who had not been swayed by Nicola Sturgeon, with concerns ranging from independence to Trident. Do you know who you're going to be voting for at the general election yet?
SNP.
SNP, and why is that?
Because I feel strongly towards independence, and I feel that if SNP wins, then we'll get independence.
What other issues would you say matter to you?
Just the nuclear weapons, the money for all that, and all
Okay.
the tax as well for the benefits.
So you would abolish Trident, is that what you would do?
I've got a kid, so I think that it's better to have my money towards that than to spend it on nuclear weapons.
Ewan Hoyle won't be in Glasgow South on the day of the election, as he looks to shore up Liberal Democrat votes elsewhere. He says the party has been tainted by coalition.
Certainly the mood in the hustings is that there has been a large swing to the SNP. I suspect the seeds were sown in kind of Tony Blair's Prime Ministership. And,
In what way?
I just think the Labour Party that the Scottish people knew kind of became this kind of desperate populist vote grabbing, kind of looking for the swing votes in Middle England. The fact of us going into coalition with the Conservatives, who are not a popular party generally in Scotland, has meant that we have to work very hard to break through that stigma, if you like.
Another party opposing austerity is the Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition. I asked Brian Smith of the TUSC if socialism was a toxic word and what his expectations were.
I think younger people are attracted to the idea of socialism. If you look at polls, people are in favour of public ownership of the energy industry, they're in favour of public ownership of the gas, they're in favour of public ownership of the railways, some socialist measures. And if you look at other countries like America, where the polls for those sorts of questions are even higher. So the ideas of socialism, I think, are the future, they're not the past. And I think that the idea that the world can't be better and the world cannot be more equal and cannot be run on a better basis is something I think most people would agree with. We are realistic about what our votes will be in a UK first past the post election, but we think it's important to stand on the platform we're standing on for socialism, for no cuts. We are hoping to win as many votes as we can, clearly, but we also want to use the election campaign to raise the ideas of socialism and crucially build a bigger movement against the cuts.
With just days remaining until people cast their vote, all indications are that Stewart McDonald and the SNP will walk into the sunset on May the 7th, having secured not just Glasgow South, but potentially the whole of Scotland.